Good evening, everyone. Wait for a few people to come on with us. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. I'll tell you, we're heading into summer, but boy, it's starting to get chilly this evening. I think the low is supposed to be like 45 tonight. Show you what's going on in the neighborhood. Uh-oh, there's a car coming down the street. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. It is chilly this evening. I tell you, one of the things, I work for a radio station, so when I left the radio station tonight, one of the things that I ran into was I went by the Goodwill, and if you've seen some of our videos on here, you know that we will go out and buy storage units, and we do the thrift stores, and we do the yard sales. And one of the things I stopped by tonight, I found these scooters, and I found several of them tonight, three of them. Paid $6 a piece for them, $5.99 a piece, and I couldn't let it go by. They were $300 scooters, and they're the ones that you pump with your feet. And so I couldn't let those go by. I, you know, I had to buy those. And again, a lot of people don't buy from the Goodwill like they used to because the prices are just so astronomical these days. It used to be you could go in and you could be at a thrift store and you could find something for a couple bucks, and now it's $4 or $5 to just buy something. And it's so funny because you'll ask one of the workers there, you're like, I can go to the Dollar Tree and get this for $1, and they don't realize they're putting a $7 price tag on a dollar item. And that kind of it's a little crazy how some of these thrift stores, especially the Goodwill, they make a ton of money. If you've ever seen the amount of money that the CEO makes, it's outrageous. So, but I tell you, it's a little chilly. I'm in Virginia, and I know summer's just right around the corner in June here. But boy, it's a little chilly tonight. It's supposed to get down. I think 45 is the low for the night. So it's supposed to get a little chilly. If you're on here with me tonight, let me know who you are, where you at, what's going on with you. I'm gonna turn you around real quick and just let me see here. There we go. Just a quiet night in the neighborhood tonight. Yeah, nothing major going on. So just kind of hanging out and seeing what everybody's doing this evening, and I hope everybody had a great day. If you're on the West Coast, I hope you're still having a good day. I know on the East Coast, everybody's kind of off work right now and kind of taking it easy, getting into the weekend and just enjoying the weekend. Uh, we had a big we had a big concert come through the area Wednesday, and we're about 45 minutes to 30 minutes away from Blacksburg, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. And with the Hokies, during their football games, the way the teams come in, they come in with the song Inner Sandman from Metallica. And over the years, that song has been the song that I'm talking, they come in. to that song for the last 25 years. And, on the big boards and the big screens and everything, they've had Metallica, introduce the team and things like that, but they've never really had Metallica in Blacksburg. And Metallica actually worked it out to where they did a concert Wednesday night, and I bet you it was 80,000 people there. It was really something to see that Metallica actually came in to Blacksburg. And Blacksburg did it upright. I will give them credit on what they did there. They did do it right. The stadium was, gorgeous. I didn't realize that Metallica shows up with 87 trucks in order to put the stage up and everything like that. If you see the picture behind me, there's a picture there. Lucian put that picture up there in the window. So he likes the world to see his artwork. But no, Blacksburg did it right. They tickets ranged from anywhere from like $70 to $500. I know I spoke to some groups and they had paid $500 to be on the field in order to be around the stage. And talked to one gentleman the other night, and he had ended up spending like 2 grand. And it was just a simple, it was a simple thing of just saying, "Hey, we were there." And with that song and Enter Sandman, it was just a thing of them saying, "Hey, we were there in Blacksburg when Metallica played," and um, it was a pretty big concert. It was a pretty big deal. I can hear the helicopter taking off from the hospital behind me here. The town I'm in, it's kind of a strange little town because we grew up with railroads, and you still hear the trains go through the area. Now we do have Amtrak and things like that, and um, you can get on the train in the morning and be in DC in the afternoon, and then turn around at 4 o'clock, and you're back into Roanoke within a couple hours out of DC. So, but the train's a pretty good little ride if you've never been on a train. Amtrak is a pretty good way to go, especially short trips. And with us, I think it's we get on the train at 6 o'clock in the morning here in Roanoke, and we're in DC about 1 o'clock. So not bad. You know, it's actually pretty decent. It's a pretty good little trip there. Um, I hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Again, you know, just a quiet evening, and I thought I'd hop on here and see who's on here tonight and see if anybody, wanted to say hi, and we'll go that direction. And again, I'm trying to figure this thing out here with YouTube, and but no, I stopped by the Goodwill there, and they had these 3 scooters, and I really thought when I got up to them they were going to be like $25 a piece or $30 a piece, and when I got up to them they were $5.99 a piece. And when you look them up, the value of them, they're like $200 scooters, and they didn't look bad. They don't look bad at all. And so I ended up picking them up for $5.99 a piece. There's 3 of them. There's a kid scooter and then 2 adult scooters. So not a bad find. Not a bad find at all, and should be an easy flip. We'll put them on Marketplace, or we've got a shop the next town over where we do antiques and things like that. We can easily put them into the shop, and hopefully there's a college in the little town where our antique books are at, so hopefully we can put them in there and sell them there. And the kids up at the college, they can get them and ride around the campus with them. And so it's not a bad, you know, way to get around the campus, and it gets you the exercise you need and things like that. So we can, no doubt in my mind, but for $5.99 a piece, I just couldn't pass them up. And what a really good deal to find something like that. And again, it's getting harder and harder There's so many people out here right now trying to resell everything. And it used to be to the point where we could go to a yard sale in the morning on Saturday and Sundays and go to a flea market or something and just walk around and see what was going on. But now with so many people reselling, you just can't, you just can't find the stuff that you used to be able to find. And I know that the Goodwill here in the area, they've opened up a bin store where they take their overflow and put them in these big bins. And a lot of the college kids are lining up in the morning and they're going in looking for concert T-shirts and clothing and things like that. And next thing you know, they're on all these sites, eBay, Macari, all them, and they're turning around flipping them. And it's a good way to make money. And they're going to school. They don't have a lot of times to do things, and it's it's not a bad way to make a dollar if you're looking to make a dollar. And but yeah, they do books, and it's amazing now with the cell phones. Back in the day, we didn't have the cell phones that you could just hold up an item, take a picture, and see how much it was worth. We didn't have that. You were taking a guess with it a lot of times. Either that or you knew what you had and you would take it and sell it. But now you just see kids standing there scanning books with their cell phones, and it's going through Amazon, and the kids are trying to figure out how much they're going to make from Amazon off of these books. And in a lot of these places uh, will sell you a book by the pound. And these bins, and you can go in and get a ton of books for next to nothing. It's like 25, 30 cents a pound for a book. So you can go in and get a book for next to nothing these days. Uh, but again, like I said, went through the Goodwill tonight. I had two pictures in my buggy, superheroes, and I just decided I wasn't going to take those once I saw the scooters and knew that I had found a really good deal with the scooters. I just put the scooters in the buggy and told them to bring them out back for me and load them into the truck, and that's what I did there. So not a bad not a bad evening doing that. Well, you can hear the helicopter sitting there at the hospital, and the hospital's a couple miles from us, but you can hear the helicopters. It's really clear and crisp here in the valley tonight, but you can hear the helicopter just sitting there revving its propeller, its engine. And usually when that helicopter takes off, it's a trauma helicopter, and when that helicopter takes off, it's not good. There's an accident on the highway or something that helicopter's flying to. And it's one of those things where you're just you're hoping and praying that it's not, they're just flying from one hospital to another, that they're not actually having to go out onto the interstate and land, because a lot of times, it's quicker for that helicopter to come over and land instead of going, you know, by ambulance to the hospital. That helicopter, um, and our helicopters, we have two in the valley. We have Lifeguard 10, and then we've got one through the University of Virginia called Pegasus. And usually, again, when you see those, it's not a good thing. They're normally not just flying in for the heck of it. They're flying in because they have somebody on the helicopter, and it's a trauma situation. So, but I can hear the helicopter right now at the hospital. So, and again, like I said, the town we're in is a railroad town, so you can hear the trains and everything like that when they bump into each other. And a lot of coal comes through the area. We're in Virginia, West Virginia, the coal mines and things like that. So a lot of coal comes through our area, and I'm amazed by the people with graffiti, and they tag these trains. And one of the really neat things about it, and I may have to do a video on it one night, one day go out and show you. But you'll see all these trains where these kids tag them, they spray paint them, and they put their names and their pictures and things like that. So you'll be sitting at, a train going by and all this graffiti, and some of it is, you know, fairly decent, really strong looking, to see the graffiti on the side of these trains. It, it's got to take hours for these young men and women to get into that train yard and spray the side of these trains. And some of them are really detailed to where they're, they're making a point on, they're tagging that train, letting you know that it's them doing it. And like I said, I may have to go down to the train yard one day and just kind of walk around and show you some of that, because that's pretty neat. It really is. And I'm sure that, if you're in a town where trains and things are going through, you're probably seeing that as much as I am. Now, some of them are pretty bad. I will be honest with you. Um, it's a skill, and over time, I'm sure they've learned how to do it. And tagging your name properly on the side of a train is, I'm sure it's pretty, decent work there. But yeah, see, right there, you could just hear one of the trains smack into each other. But again, a really crisp night tonight. It's supposed to be down to the 40s. And I thought we were kind of done with this. We're getting ready. If you watched the video earlier today, we were talking about getting ready to go to the beach, and we're at a point right now when you get down into South Carolina, temperatures are probably in the 70s to 80s, and it's getting to the point where the nighttime temperatures are falling into the 60s, and it's really nice. Uh, the water is still a little cold. I was down there in March, and I'm always amazed at people from the north. They'll actually get into the water, where it looks like the people from the south, they don't want to touch the water until June, July, August, somewhere in there. So I'm always amazed at watching these, especially the young kids, 10, 11, 13, somewhere in there. I'm talking, they run headfirst straight into that water, and it is freezing out there. So I'm just sitting here tonight on the porch, taking it easy. Had a pretty good show today. We talked a little, softball's big in the area where we're at right now. We have, 4 schools really that could make the NCAA tournament. And we were watching Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech lost one today in softball. That was a heartbreaker. They were leading the game 9-2 going into the sixth inning, and they ended up losing the game 10-9. And so it had started raining on these young ladies, and just looked like they couldn't hold on to the ball. And they let a lot of runs go over, and Clemson got them. It's plain and simple. Uh, if you're a softball player and you've played softball, you kind of know what's going on. Especially when it rains, it's hard to hold that ball, and you know we've always been taught when it rains like that to kind of ease up on the way you throw the ball. Don't throw it as hard as you should throw it in a normal ball game, because the control of the ball is not what you think it should be. And the young ladies that came in looked like they wanted to throw hard in the rain, and they just couldn't control the ball. So they ended up letting, 8 runs score, and they ended up winning that ball game today 10-9. And like I said, it was a 9-2 ball game, and for Clemson to come back and beat them 10-9, that was a pretty good win. So not bad if you're an ACC fan and watching, softball right now. You're seeing some pretty good softball. But right now we wait and see. We wait to see, where they're going to play. But we've got um, Virginia Tech. We've got Liberty. Now Liberty is right down the road from us, Liberty University, and we've got them, and Dot Richardson's their coach. So we've got them, and then Radford University. Radford's had a pretty good season, but everything hinges on whether or not they win their tournament or not. So we're watching what Radford's doing right now. And I tell you, I'm going to spin the camera around again. There we go. Look how clear it is tonight. It's just really clear. There's not a cloud in the sky, and you can hear the birds. It's going to be a crisp evening, plain and simple. As you can see the flag across the street. Usually right there in the middle, and I'll see if I can zoom in. Usually if you wait long enough, you'll see the deer. The deer will pop through the backyard there, and it's a family of them. It's usually 5 or 6 of them, but they'll come up through the yard and they'll eat, and they'll kind of check everything out for the evening, see what's going on. The gentleman that lives there, he'll put some things out for them, so they will come through and eat. And it was funny. I came in one night and I was coming up the driveway and I kept hearing something and I couldn't get my mind wrapped around what it was. And it was a deer. And it was in between the houses. And as much as he spooked me, I think I spooked him. And he come busting through trying to get back across the street over here. And but if you let me see if I zoom in close enough. Yeah, it's not going to let me zoom in that close. Usually you can see them up in the trees there. Um, what will really get you is their tail. Their tail will start, moving around and start moving back and forth. And once you see the tail, then you can kind of figure out what's going on with them. And it's just a family of deer enjoying the evening. But that's, oh, there we go. Yep, I'm zooming. Yeah, but it did. It scared the daylights out of me that night. I didn't know what it was, and I could hear it, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and I thought maybe it might have been a possum or a raccoon or something like that coming up through the middle. Um, but there's a ladder laying at the side of the house, and he ended up hitting the ladder. And when he hit the ladder, that really kind of got him. And I didn't know what he was doing or what was going on with him. And but once he hit that ladder, he was coming out from around the side of that house. And he made his way through, and like I said, him and I met each other, and he scared me, I scared him. He ran across the street through the yard, and I hauled tail up through the house, and because they can be mean, they can get up on their back legs and really, come at you. They can be mean if you don't watch. So if you're not, and I think a lot of it is just being scared by them and them scaring you. So, but I don't think he had any idea to hurt me or anything like that. I think it was just an idea of he was trying to get out from between those two houses. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. It's been 25 minutes. I've had a few people pop in and out, but I'm gonna try tomorrow. If you saw the earlier video, we've got an event scheduled, and I think I'm gonna set up tomorrow to where you can see some of the stuff going on over at the event, and hopefully we can get some video of that, do a live stream there, and hopefully you get to see what's going on there for tomorrow. All right, folks, I will see you soon.